But now let's move on to this week's art talk with the repeat of Edward Gorey. Hello, Sarah. Look at
Hello,
you.
everyone. I have these fun little vampire teeth, but
I love it.
unfortunately, I could not figure out how to get them to stick on my teeth. So we're going to put those aside. Yes, happy Halloween. Thank you for that introduction. We are doing a repeat artist, a Halloween favorite, Edward Gorey. Edward was a child prodigy, drawing pictures at 18 months and teaching himself to read by age 3. Edward's upbringing was chaotic, with his parents constantly moving within Chicago, and he skipped several grades, eventually ending up at the Francis Parker School in 9th grade. After graduation, Gorey enrolled in some art courses at the Art Institute of Chicago before entering the U.S. Army and serving in World War II. After the Army, he enrolled at Harvard, studying French literature, but always participating in different artistic and design activities. He moved to New York after graduating and rose to prominence in the commercial design and illustration world. And he left a lasting legacy of illustrations and pieces that are eerie and macabre, but he was in fact quite a gentle man. He was an avid reader, lover of the ballet and the theater, and an avid animal welfare advocate. Gorey did numerous alphabet books and typefaces. On the left, is a typeface that he created using one of his characters called Fig Bash. And on the right is one of his more famous works, and the most famous of his alphabet works, called The Gashly Crumb Tinies. And the book tells the tale of 26 children, each representing a letter of the alphabet, and their untimely deaths. And the morbid humor of the book comes in part from the mundane ways in which the children in the story die, such as falling down the stairs or choking on a peach. Gorey sometimes decorated his envelopes and correspondences. He was known to have taken requests, and the ones we see here are a notice being sent to Miss Sylvia Simmons in Chicago with these kind of figures resting on spikes, and another one with a bat-like creature carrying the ribbons of the mailing address of Peter Neumeyer in Medford, Massachusetts. Here we have two pieces with a similar motif. On the right is man with a bat on his head, and on the left is a group of people with a woman with a bat on her head. Now, the woman is actually artist Sylvia Seitz, who had requested the bat to be there. Both of these pieces have, you can see his spine-chilling tone, and are made with black ink pen and brush and black and gray wash on cream paper. As I mentioned before, Gorey was an avid reader, and this piece literally communicates his stance on that. In the early days of Gorey's career, when the artist was struggling to get an editor interested in his works, he self-published his books. So what the world came to know as Fanted Press was actually just Gorey's own publishing efforts. He kind of did it all by himself, and all 28 of the books that the press published were his, hidden behind a series of increasingly comical anagrams and aliases. For example, Ogdred Weary, Edward Pig, and Audrey Gore, just to name a few. Though Gorey often illustrates children, he never had any, and actually wasn't particularly fond of them. But what he was fond of were cats. And that's another motif that appears throughout his career. The T.S. Eliot book, Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats, was illustrated by Gorey and went on to be the inspiration behind Andrew Lloyd Webber's famed musical Cats. And then he also made paper dolls of cats and made many toy versions of the creatures, of his creatures and characters throughout his career. Speaking of toys, The Doubtful Guest is one of his most famous books. We've talked about it before in past art talk. And it follows this penguin-like creature, as you can see, that shows up on the doorstep of a turn-of-the-century manor house. The family living there struggles to coexist with the creature. And after 17 years of residing there, it shows, quote, no sign of going anywhere. And you can also see he made a cloth toy of the Doubtful Guest as well. As I mentioned, Gorey was a big fan of going to the ballet, particularly George Balanchine and the New York City Ballet, where he attended every performance for 25 years, which is astonishing. He often referred to Balanchine as a major influence on his work, and here we can see two of his creatures dancing a ballet over the newspaper. Finally, we have some of his wacky and avant-garde Christmas cards. Starting from the left, we have a Christmas card of a robot and a female prisoner. And the card says, "I've been meaning to write for years and shall after the holidays. Best love, Ted." In the middle is another card titled "Man with His Cat," but to me, it looks more like a skeleton with his cat. And on the right is a card of a tiger, and his stripes read, "Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year." Thank you for diving into the spooky world of Edward Gorey, and happy Halloween, everyone.
Mic on? Happy Halloween, Sarah. Happy Halloween, Sarah. That was incredible.